Howdy folks, I'm bewildered Eastern-tailed blue, bashfully benefiting from beneficent beetles.
I'm Amber.
And here are more beneficent beetles for us to benefit from. We are hitching rides on them. They're our taxi beetles. So if you don't like that imagery of a butterfly riding a beetle, then I mean, too bad, so sad. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my brother-in-law that his reasons for not allowing his daughter to get her ears pierced are misplaced at best and creepy at worst? I am a 25-year-old female, and my older sister, a 34-year-old female, and her husband, a 36-year-old male, have a daughter, a 12-year-old female. Recently, my niece had mentioned that she thinks that it's unfair that her parents won't let her get her ears pierced. To avoid undermining, I just said that they probably have a very good reason. Well, sometime later, I was at my sister and her husband's house in their living room. Mostly out of curiosity and wanting to be nosy, I asked them why they wouldn't let their daughter get their ears pierced. My sister said that it's her husband's idea and that she told him to explain why. He told me that he doesn't want her to get extra attention from boys. He said that before he got married, he almost always noticed the earrings a woman was wearing. I was trying to hold my tongue as I'm known to be a big mouth. My sister asked why I was making such a face. She asked if I think that they are bad parents, and I told her that I don't think that I should answer, but she told me to answer. I said that I think bad parents is probably too severe. I told her that their husband's reasons are misplaced at best and creepy at worst. My sister started yelling at me while her husband tried to calm her down. How dare I say that about her husband? I have no kids, so I have no right what to tell them to do with their daughter, and so on and so forth. Did my big mouth get me in trouble again? Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, this does seem like a very creepy reason to not let your kid get her ears pierced. I mean, it's kind of victim blaming logic right there. Like, oh, you can't have your ears pierced because then you might draw the boys' attention. Like, that's gross and creepy, and boys need to learn to, like, mind their own business and not, harass other people. It's a bad assumption on behalf to assume that all the boys are going to harass her just because she has earrings too. Not very, fair of their character, but it's also not fair to put the burden on, girls for like not dressing to incite a boy's attention. But then like there's a whole thing about like this is his thing that he's apparently really into, and like that leaves some uncomfortable things in my mind.
Well, it does feel like he's sexualizing her, right? And I mean, I think that can't be understated at this point in time. When he's saying like, oh, she'll get attention from boys, what he's kind of saying is that if she gets her ears pierced, then I'm going to also pay attention to this and stuff like that too.
That's my concern with this.
And the thing is that, like Amber said, boys need to learn how to control their own feelings and emotions, and any attention that she's paid to by boys is not her fault because of earrings, right?
Right, like clothes and jewelry are not consent.
Yeah.
They're not an invitation.
And so I think that his reasoning here is misguided at best and creepy at worst. And I think that really wasn't unfair for OP to state. I think that this could really crawl into the creepy territory.
Yeah, well, especially where OP was directly asked and was like, well, you don't want to hear my answer. And her sister's like, no, go ahead, tell me. It's like, what did you expect OP was going to say?
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Do Wait 3622 says, I think that is creepy. Why is he sexualizing his daughter and trying to control it? Just because he's preoccupied with earrings doesn't mean anyone else is. Adding in before he got married is kind of funny. Are you supposed to believe that he never thought again after he said that I do? And I'm not saying this to shame him for noticing earrings. There's nothing wrong with it. But why is he using what turns him on as a basis for what his daughter should do and not be allowed to do? And Opie replies, you seem to understand why I said that it was misplaced at best. When I was a minor, I dealt with boys. As a grown woman, I've dealt with him. I haven't met a man who seems so preoccupied with my earrings. I mean, I do notice earrings, but usually it's just like, oh, those are neat earrings.
Well, the thing is, like, you're not, like, creepy about earrings. You'll just, you're like, oh, those are cool earrings.
Hey, ladies, those are really pretty new earrings you have there. You mind showing me your ears?
I'm going to do that from now in public.
Yeah, don't do that.
Anytime I see someone with earrings on.
No, but you have good taste in earrings. You got me nice earrings.
They were delicious.
Not like that.
And Spiritual Being 5845 says, if brother-in-law had a foot fetish, would he force his daughter to wear combat boots so that no one could see her toes? And Brown Hair Curly Hair says, or if he was a boob man, would he not let his daughter wear a necklace because he thinks that it'll drive attention to her chest? And I Trust Every says, you joke, but I had a friend in high school whose mother would not let her wear t-shirts with any kind of print or embellishment in the front because it would draw attention to her chest. And let me tell you the shenanigans that girl got up in her plain t-shirts. Well, and I think that brings up a really good point. Like, even if you limit what a kid does, they're going to figure out a way to, rebel against that.
Right. Like, if she finds boys she likes, even if she doesn't have earrings, and she likes them back, like, things can still happen. It's not like preventing your kids from wearing earrings is going to stop them from engaging in romantic behavior.
Yeah, and they're clip-on earrings, too.
Oh,
Right?
yes. There are clip-on earrings.
What happens if she just decides to go full-on clipped earring while she's not inside the house?
Oh, I can see that now, like sneaking the clip-on earrings in her school bag, waiting till she gets to the girls' bathroom and just popping them on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, kids are going to rebel, and I mean, the most important thing is to give, good reasons for them to, make certain decisions, right?
Well, yeah, well, I think that's an important point, is like making sure your reasoning is sound, like there are good reasons to tell your kids like not to underage drink and like not to drive drunk and stuff like that. But these kind of like arbitrary, like, well, boys might look at you if you have earrings, that's on the boys to behave themselves, like they can look at her earrings. They don't have to be creeps. Like,
Well, and then on top of that, I think like if you are a parent and you make too many of these arbitrary rules, then it becomes harder for the kids to know which rules are really important, which ones aren't important, right? Like if you're making, oh, you can't have earrings and you can't wear this and you can't wear that, it kind of also, makes like maybe drinking at a party seem like, well, this is just another thing that I can't do or something like that.
right, there's no actual like distinction, it's like everything is just a rule that I can't break, so I'm gonna break them all.
Yeah. And Brown's Girl says, I worked with a Mormon guy in college, my supervisor, who wouldn't let the female employees chew grape gum because once he wanted to cheat on his wife with a woman that chewed it constantly. Grape gum reminded him of her. So to be faithful to his wife, the female employees couldn't chew it, especially us college-aged girls. He straight up told new employees that. It was creepy and weird 3 decades ago, and it's creepy and weird today. Well, and then also, like, it makes the assumption that these girls would just, like, fawn all over him if he made a move on them.
Yeah, well, it's very, very problematic because it's framing all these women as just like temptresses who just want to steal him away from his wife he wants to be faithful to.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, self-restraint, that's on you.
Well, that's just it. And again, I think that's the key here is he needs to exercise self-restraint. If grape gum bothers him, well, that's unfortunate, but I mean, that's on him, right?
Right. Well,
Therapy.
And he's a Mormon, so, he also believes in the Bible, and like Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount that like it's better to like pluck out your eyes than, to be cast into hell. Like, it's on to you to like control your own behavior.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Entering My Husband into a Contest? I'm a 42-year-old female, and I went on a girls' trip last weekend with 3 of my friends from college. We are all still very close, and these trips are good for the soul. It's a great way to stay connected. During happy hour on Sunday night, the topic of men's underwear came up. Don't ask how, I can't even remember. One of the girls suggested that we all ask our husbands to send us mirror selfies of the undies that they were wearing at that very second. And we would compare and vote, and the winner had to buy a nice bottle of wine. It all felt very fun and silly. So I texted my husband to snap a selfie of his undies for me for a contest. And he did. I texted him back, and an hour later, I told him congrats that he won. He replied with a question mark, and I explained the silly game and that he had won the vote. He wasn't mad, but he was surprised that I didn't tell him the context of what was going on. He wasn't aware that I was going to show off the photo to the girls. I immediately felt awful, and what seemed like a silly game suddenly felt like a breach of trust. I admit that I got a little pride and satisfaction from showing the photo because he's fit and looks good in underwear, which somehow made me feel worse. My husband let me off the hook and said he's not upset. He joked that he would be more mad if he lost, but I can't help but feel a lingering guilt. Am I the jerk? And to add, the guys have proposed having the same contest in reverse as payback. All right, folks, what do you think of this, and what do you think of the payback?
I mean, I think that OP was in the wrong to not be upfront. I think the payback, like, if everyone was on board, but like that's okay. But like, if people now feel pressured, like that's not great.
Yeah.
But everyone should have been upfront with their partners to begin with, because you never know if someone is going to be uncomfortable with having their underwear photos shown to other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the importance of informed consent,
Mhm.
right? If OP had texted him and said, hey, we're having an underwear contest, you game? Just if you are, send me a picture of you in your underwears, and the girls
Mhm.
are going to vote on it, right?
Yeah.
That would have been informed consent, and it would have been perfectly fine to conduct it that way, right?
Yes.
And he may have been all about it, right? But maybe some of the other husbands might not have been too. So I think that that's one of those things where you need to give people the option to consent into something like this. Right?
Exactly. Like, it sounds like he sent this assuming it was for OP's eyes only. And while he's ultimately come to terms with it and been fine with it, he might have like not been, or might even be, minimizing it now because he can see that Opie's upset about it.
Yeah. And as for the revenge, I think that it's really important to make sure that everyone who enters it feels comfortable and doesn't feel pressured and doesn't feel coerced into sending underwear pics now that they've sent underwear pics. And I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest problem I have with this revenge type
Mhm.
of scenario, is that maybe now it feels like they are obligated to send these pictures and they
Yeah.
can't freely give consent in that respect, right? It's an obligation. Oh, you did it, so now I did it for you, so now you have to do it for me, type of
Mhm.
thing, right? And that's not a good place to be. It can build a lot of resentment and make something that's supposed to be fun traumatic, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think, I think that they just need to be more careful in the future and think about things and the consequences of them, and that's really where I fall in this particular story. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Misguided hero.
Yeah, I would not say that.
Apparently the wheel really likes men's
I
underwear.
was gonna say, is the wheel getting some underwear pics out of this?
I think so. I think so. I think the wheel might have been one of the judges. And Intrepid Parsley 655 says, you're the jerk. While you thought the reason that you needed the pic was obvious, it wasn't to him. He could have assumed the context was who can get the underwear pic from their partners the quickest. You have to be specific when it comes to something of this nature. And Opie replies, that's fair. And Please Resist says, not the jerk. You told him it was for a contest. What else would you have done with a photo in a contest? Someone would see it regardless as a contest. You didn't lie or deceive him. People seeing it was a logical conclusion. It's terrible that he wasn't paying attention or didn't give it any thought before sending it along, but fortunately he's not upset either. And OP replies, thanks, I wish I was more clear. What do you think of that?
I mean, I was a little confused by OP's wording in there, but I mean, I think it's different to be like, oh, this is for a contest versus this is for a contest with my friends. Like, I do think there's a bit of a difference there of like, this is something random and anonymous versus these are people who know me who are going to be seeing this, because without the context of this being between a few friends, her friends probably couldn't pick him out in his underwear from a lineup of a bunch of different dudes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I think the thing is that this couldn't, it wasn't as bad as it could have been because OP
Mm-hmm.
did say that it was for a contest. At least that's the way it sounds like in OP's original message.
Mm-hmm.
But, like this person, like one of the people are saying is that a contest could mean a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, we don't necessarily know what he wouldn't necessarily know what that meant specifically, and I think that's why it was important to give informed consent. But like OP did say, oh, it's a contest, so I don't know. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled I'm a 37-year-old male, and I caught my girlfriend, a 31-year-old female, secretly recording me. My girlfriend was leaving a concert with her sister. Before she left, she set up 3 devices to record just audio. Of the 3 that I found, one was set up in our bedroom, one in our bathroom, and the other was in the back room of our house. When she came home, she just acted like nothing had happened, and she just stalled until I had to try and get some sleep. The next morning, I woke up and I went through the morning routine, and once she was up and going, I asked for her phone, and she started handing it over until I asked for her passcode. She has always had access to mine at any time, at any point. She pulled back and asked why. Then I told her that I had busted her, and she initially denied it. I told her that I took pictures to prove, and I had showed her. She kept denying until I walked away. Then she admitted to me and that she knew that she was busted because she heard on the recordings me freaking out once I had found the first. Now I don't feel comfortable in my own house. She invaded my privacy in the one place that I feel that I should be the safest. I told her that we are no longer together anymore and moved her out of the bedroom. All right, folks, what do you think?
That is very creepy for her to do, and I understand why Opie doesn't feel safe. Like, if she has these insecurities, it's important to talk about them, potentially with a therapist, but you can't just put up a bunch of spy cameras to spy on your partner.
Well, I think that's the key here, right? It's like he was being spied on, and that may not even be legal, right? And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, even though they were audio recording devices, I'm pretty sure there's still, wiretapping laws and stuff like that require somebody to be informed if they're being recorded, right?
Right.
Even in one-party consent states, you have to be present for the recording for it to be legal, right? You can't just leave a recorder out in the open and capture whatever you want, right? There needs to be the knowledge that this is being recorded by somebody.
Yes, like one of the people has to actually be there with the recorder.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just spying.
And so I think that OP was not overreacting here, and breaking up with his partner, who's going to secretly record him, was a good idea, because I don't know that it's going to end here. Like, next time, she was probably going to be more careful, right? But that's the problem, is like, people like this don't necessarily stop being, I guess, spying.
Yeah, well, once you've broken trust in that way, it's really hard to rebuild. Like, even if she never spied again, how is OP gonna know that? How would he go through, like, his house without having lingering questions of, is there a, recorder hidden somewhere in this room?
Yeah.
Listening to me right now.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What did the pastry say to their anxious child?
Oh, the pastry said to its anxious child, catch up, because the pastry was actually a ketchup pastry. So, I mean, like, you haven't heard of a ketchup pastry because they aren't being sold, because nobody wants their pie filling to be ketchup. And I mean, it's pretty obvious why. And so, like, that's like this undesirable child of the pastry family.
Do not worry, I'm here.
Do not worry, I'm here. Yeah.
And it's National Donut Day.
Oh, go find yourself some jelly-filled donuts and where the jelly is ketchup.
Oh, that sounds horrifying.
It does, doesn't it? I'm sure it exists. I'm positive this exists, and I'm glad it exists nowhere near me. And I have some Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, folks. I can't believe it's Friday once again. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on informed consent.
Informed consent is very, very important, whether that's for, like, sharing underwear pictures of people or putting recording devices around your house or what have you.
Yes, yes. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.